Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. My name is Peter Loshak. Today is Tuesday, December 5th, and we are talking right now with Steve from collegefootballwinning.com. Steve, we are going to take a look right now at the always interesting Army-Navy game that comes up this weekend. And, of course, it seems like every year this total opens in the mid-50s or the low 50s and gets bet down to the mid-40s, which has already happened. So if this one lands on 48 or 49, that's not good. But maybe there's still betting value on the under, even in the mid-40s. And as far as the side is concerned, there hasn't been much movement. Navy, of course, is the favorite here. They're about a 3.5 point favorite. Army, though, has a little bit of has almost a week more of rest time than Navy for this one. And if you look at their two games against Air Force, they were both very competitive. Both beat Air Force, and of course, Army shut Air Force out, and Navy beat Air Force in a very high-scoring game. So that makes me think that maybe the under might not necessarily be a good play here, as it has been in years past. Navy obviously is an impressive team, but I'm thinking maybe Army plus 3.5 might be the right side here. What do you think, Steve?
Another excellent introduction, Peter.
Yes.
I'm going to walk right into your territory and talk about the total.
Okay.
If I can stretch your memory, Peter, pretty much every season I come on and want to talk about the total in this game, and it is I pretty much come to the same conclusion every year. So I'm going to make a case for the total. I'm going to make a case for the under, and you can go ahead and listen to the argument, and you can try to poke holes into it, and let's see what happens. So as we know, Peter, all three service academies run some form of option offense, and that means tons of running with relatively little clock stoppage. So it's no surprise, all three service academies rank in the top 10 this season for time of possession. No surprise there. So when two service academies play each other, there tends to be fewer offensive plays, and consequently, fewer points are scored. In fact, in Army-Navy games, they average together when they're playing each other almost 20 fewer total plays than their own season averages when playing someone other than Army or Navy. But it's not just fewer plays per game, Peter. Both Army and Navy have gained fewer yards per play against each other compared to their season average 80% of the time when they play each other. For both Army and Navy, switching gears a little bit, they have the worst field goal success rate together in more than a decade. So both teams hate to kick field goals. So the question is, how does each team defend the red zone then if under other circumstances with other teams and better field goal success, they'd normally be in a field goal kicking situation? These guys are going to go for it more often than not. This is the best Army red zone defense in more than a decade. And even though Navy's red zone defense is not good, they're better than last year. And Navy makes up for their pretty poor red zone defense by having their worst red zone offense, their red zone scoring offense, since 2012. This season, Army is attempting, on average, 5.5 passes per game, Peter. Not only is that the fewest number of pass attempts per game for Army in at least 16 years, but it's the fewest anywhere for any team in the FBS for at least 16 years. Why 16 years? Because I stopped the research when I was going back in time. 16 years, I stopped there and just said, this is ridiculous. They pass so little. They're so one-dimensional. Such a running team. So each team must stop the run. That's true every year. For Army this year in their offense, it is more true than it's been in at least 16 years. So by rushing yards per game allowed, both Army and Navy, their run defenses are ranked in the top 60, which is above average. And what's notable is it's the first time that both rushing defenses have been ranked in the top 60 at the same time since 2009. And I believe that 2009 game was a 17-3 game, so way under the total. By scoring defense, Peter, this year's Navy defense is better than last year's defense. And I keep saying better than last year's, said it a couple of times, because that's the same defense that last year that held Army to 21 points and contributed to last year's game going under the closing total by 9.5 points and under the opening total by 17.5 points. Aside from last year's team, this is Army's best scoring defense they've had in over a decade. So this season, the under for both teams combined when they're playing away from their respective home stadiums. So like this game, this is being played at a neutral site in Philadelphia. The combined total has gone under 8 out of 11 times. So the under is 8-3 for these teams this season in away games. The last 15 years, Peter, all Service Academy games have gone under the total. 15 years, 78.57% of the time. This Army-Navy game has gone under the total, unbelievably, Peter, it's true, the last 11 consecutive years. And by an average of 17 points per game under the opening total and an average of 14.59 points per game under the closing total. We're talking more than 2 touchdowns under the opening and closing totals here, Peter. So obviously my conclusion, our clients and I have already bet this game under at 50, 49, and some had to get it at 48 because it dropped so quickly. I would still recommend this under 46.5, which is pretty widely available. As of this morning here in Las Vegas, there were still some 47s, so don't wait on this one. All of this speaks to the importance of continuing to check places like SBRodds.com to shop around for the best number, but I am recommending, as I do almost each and every year in the Army-Navy game, the under.
All right. Well, I hope you're right, Steve. I bet this one at 48 myself. I also took Army at plus 3.5. Do you have any opinion on that, or do you think that might be the wrong side or the right side?
Interestingly enough, Peter, I do not have an opinion on the spread, which is so rare for me. I'm usually, collegefootballwinning.com is all focused on, almost entirely focused on spreads. But this time, my sole focus was the total.
Okay, sounds good, Steve. Thanks so much. Tell us how things have been going at collegefootballwinning.com this year.
They've been going very well, Peter. This year is one of our best years we've had. So at collegefootballwinning.com, we focus on making college football betting recommendations primarily on the spread, and we use algorithmic sets to do that. We call those algorithmic betting recommendations our formula. The lifetime of the formula, Peter, is now, this is current, 60.69% against the spread. This season, Peter, we are 66.2% against the spread. All very good news. Bad news is you cannot join us right now because we are closed to new clients for this season, but you can get on our waiting list. So come to collegefootballwinning.com and get on our waiting list.
All right. Thanks so much, Steve. Thanks so much for your insights on the Army-Navy game.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.